Hey, hello everyone, and I'm hoping you all are doing well. When I'm talking of doing well, I'm also meaning that you all are spending your time productively. I tell you one small thing. When after, or maybe after the lockdown, after the exams are done, or after a few months, or after maybe a year, when we look back at 2020, the months of February, March, April, May, even, we'll be having two things to, or we'll be having two options. Either look back at these months with regret, or look back at these months with happiness. There may be regret if we do not use this time productively. So I am urging everyone, please use this time productively. Yeah, invest at least 3 to 4 to 5 hours in trying to hone your skills, or in trying to improve your skills, in trying to learn a new skill. Um, I'm also hoping that every one of you is doing well, and everyone in your family is also doing well. Please stay happy, stay positive, and stay productive in this time, or in these times. Moving on, okay, I'm sorry I forgot to wish you all very good morning, a very good afternoon also maybe, or a very good evening, because I do not know when you all will be watching this video. And if I say good morning, it will be like, okay, I'm watching this video at night, why is sir telling me good morning? Or I'm watching this video in the evening, then why should sir be telling me good morning now, or good evening? So that is why, so as to cater to everyone, I'm serving you all this wishes, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, in a buffet. Okay, so before I move on, I must there is one particular person I have to thank. I'll not be naming the person, but then, as you all know, in this lockdown, many of you may not be having the books or the prescribed books. Same is the condition with many of the teachers. We may not be having the books with us right now. So there is one person who provides me with the pictures of the pages of the books, so that I know what is to be taught, or what I have to teach you all. Because if I start talking of Asia, Asia is a huge continent. Along with, if I start talking, I may be moving out of syllabus. I'll be talking things which may not be required for you all based on your class. So I do require to see the pages of the book, so that I understand. Even in the previous videos you may have seen, I did use the pages of the book. I displayed the pages of the book uh, on the television, and after that I was explaining to you also, all thanks to a particular person, a very kind, a very thoughtful, and a very generous person. That person is, and not only thanks, I also have to, after the school reopens, then a chocolate is done for that person. Not a chocolate, I mean many chocolates will be there for the person. So moving on, when we are talking of the physical features of Asia, we did do an introductory part of Asia. When we are talking of the physical features of Asia, before moving on to the physical features of Asia, there is something which okay, as of today we may be thinking that, okay, Asia is having the highest amount of population, Asia is having so many countries, Asia is such a big continent, then why isn't Asia as powerful a continent as maybe the Europe, or as maybe Europe, or as maybe the Americas, or why isn't Asia that developed a continent? Okay, those are there are many reasons for that, but before that, there is one thing to be kept in mind about Asia. Asia is called the cradle of all civilizations. Cradle means that you may have seen, in which small babies are kept, and the babies are rocked to small bed-like things, jhula types. So it is the cradle of all civilizations, because all the greatest civilizations of the world, or the ancient civilizations, started in Asia. You had the, or just leaving aside the Egyptian and the Roman civilizations over there, we had the Chinese civilization, we had the Indian civilization, we had the Babylonian, Sumerian civilization. So there was, and all these civilizations, they may have been existing at the same time, but none of them, or everyone coexisted. Meaning of coexistence is, none of them interfered, or none of them tried to capture each other's civilization, because Asia is, as you can see, huge continent, and the civilizations were spaced properly. So being such a huge continent, there was no lack of space. So there was no competition for space and resources as such. So the civilizations could thrive separately, and two civilizations are still thriving. They are continuous civilizations. We have the Chinese civilization and the Indian civilization, or the Harappan civilization. Okay, we say that the Harappan civilization declined, but it did not decline as such. The Harappan, as we all know, Harappa was an urban civilization, so it moved away from the urban centers to small localized villages. It did not decline totally, it just faded away. So Asia is the cradle of all these civilizations. Along with that, Asia is also the birthplace of so many religions. When we talk of the religions, Christianity, Asia. Judaism, Asia. We have Islam, Asia. We have Hinduism, we have Sikhism, we have Buddhism, we have Jainism, we have Confucianism, we have Shintoism. We have so many different religions which took which had a birth in Asia. So all the major religions of the world, Zoroastrianism also, I forgot that. So all these religions of the world, they started in Asia, and then they started moving to different parts of the world. So Asia was the cradle of civilizations, and also the Asia was also the cradle of all major religions of the world. Now Asia, such a we have Asia has such a great cultural background, but Asia is also very, as I was talking in the previous chapter, Asia is also having so much physical variety. We have Mount Everest, we have the Dead Sea, we have so many different things. We have deltas, we have deserts, we have plains, we have so many islands, we have so many oceans, we have seas, we have lakes. So Asia is home to so many, or Asia is having so much variety in its physical features. But when we talk of the physical features of any continent, we actually try to divide them into different parts. We have the physical features are, we classify them. We have islands, suppose maybe we have islands as one group. We may be having mountain ranges, we may be having different other groupings such as plains, we have deserts, we have the plateaus. So there are so many different groupings in different continents, in different countries. The physical features are grouped into such different groupings. And when we talk of Asia, we have 5 most important groupings or divisions of physical features. Those 5 important physical features, or those 5 important divisions of physical features, I will be okay. Those 5 are, we have the northern lowlands. After that comes the central highlands. Then comes the southern plateaus. Next comes the great river basins, and then there is the group of islands or the archipelagos. So we have these 5 different groupings of physical features, and we'll be doing all the 5 in detail. But before moving on to all these 5 physical features, or before discussing in detail about these, I want every one of you to please, when we do any continent, it is, or when we talk about any country, or whenever we are doing geography, geography does not only mean the theoretical part of geography. Geography means a lot of geography can be learned, and a lot of geography can be understood by just looking and being able to read maps. So today, before moving on to the different physical features of Asia, let us deal a bit about the maps. Let us look at the maps, look at the physical map of Asia for a while, and try to understand and try to look for ourselves, or try to understand ourselves, what may be the physical divisions of or what may be the different physical features which are found in Asia. Let us find out for ourselves, and before we refer to the book, or before we move on any further. So let us go to the map. Okay, so here we have the map of Asia, the physical map of Asia. And the physical map of Asia, as you can see, one of the most distinctive country which does stand out is the shape and the peninsular shape of India. This gives India a very distinctive feature, and this also makes India very easily recognizable in any world map or in any map. But looking at the map of Asia, as I was telling, it is very important to understand and read a map first before moving on to, or before starting to learn about any continent or any country. Looking at the map, map always has different colors, and these colors, mostly in a physical map, these colors help us to understand what are the different physical features of a place or of a country, of a continent. So when we look at the map of Asia, if I ask you which are the three most distinctive colors which can be seen in this map, I guess the first answer will be, sir, blue. Well, blue stands for the oceans, and blue is the distinctive color in most of the maps, or in maps of all the continents. Most of the countries you will be finding blue. Leaving blue aside, which are the other colors, or which are the three other most important colors which we see? First, of course, we see a lot of green here and there. Then we have a lot of dark brown and the light brown. And after the light brown and the dark brown, we also have a lot of yellow. As you can see, there is a lot of yellow here and there. So these three colors are actually making up this map, or most parts of the map. What do these colors actually stand for? As you all know, the color brown stands for, the light brown or the shades of brown stands for highland areas. They include the plateaus and the mountains. Then the yellow color stands for desert areas or the dry areas and arid areas. And the green parts, they stand for the plain lands or the cultivable lands, or the plain areas, the coastal areas maybe, or the lowland areas. So these are the three most distinctive colors which we find. Let us look at these colors, or let us see if we can find out, or if we can locate a few mountain ranges. When we talk of the color brown, let us go to the brown areas. What do we find over here? We have the mighty Himalayas. As you can see, the Himalayas start from nearly the Kashmir area, move through the states of Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, through Nepal, then to Sikkim, then to Bhutan and the northeastern states. And the Himalayas actually do not... Wait, when we talk of the mountains over here, as I'll be discussing later, this peninsular part of India was not actually a part of Asia. This peninsular part of India was there somewhere attached to Africa and the island of Madagascar in Africa. So Madagascar island in Africa, this peninsular part, you can think of this part, everything below this Tropic of Cancer. Over here you can see the dotted lines, the Tropic of Cancer, and this peninsular part of India was there somewhere attached to Madagascar. This peninsular part of India, because of the plate movement or because of the tectonic movement, this peninsular part of India started moving from the African part, and it then came towards this area. We had two plates, the Indian plate over here and the Chinese plate, the Tibetan plate over here. Plates are nothing but different. If I am taking the lithosphere and I am dividing the lithosphere is actually divided into different parts or different plates. They are called tectonic plates. Think of it as, take a circular plate, maybe a glass plate or a bone china plate at home, and then just with a hammer bang it in the middle. Not very hard, but slowly. What do you find? You'll find that cracks will be there all around the plate. Those cracks, think of those cracks and think of the whole plate as the lithosphere, and the different cracks and the different pieces of the plate as the tectonic plates, or as the different parts of the lithosphere, or as the different parts in which the lithosphere is divided into. So there are many such major and minor plates all around the world. So over here we have the Indian plate. This peninsular part, the Indian plate, was there somewhere in Africa. And this Tibetan plate, the Chinese plate, this part, this Eurasian plate over here, what happened was, as the Indian plate started moving, let us think of, okay, so we have, these are two plates. What happens is, one plate starts moving towards the other, and then there is a collision. Whenever there is a collision, something like this happens. Suppose there is a collision, and what happens in a collision? As there is a collision, as one plate strikes the other plate, there is folding which takes place. As you can see, think of my hand over here as one plate. It is coming and striking this other plate, the book or the page as another plate. So what is happening over here? We are finding that there is folding over here. This gives rise to fold mountains. We'll be doing about this later, the different mountain ranges which came up. So there were many different mountain ranges. All the mountain ranges which you see over here, all these mountain ranges came up because of this Indian plate crashing onto the Eurasian plate or the Chinese or Tibetan plate. So we have so many different mountain ranges which came up because of this crash. We have the Himalayas over here. Looking closely, we find the Karakoram range, the Kailash range, the Kunlun range, the uh, Altin Tag, the Nanshan, then we have the Tian Shan over here, the Suleiman range, the Hindu Kush mountains. So we have so many different mountain ranges which came up because of this folding or this hitting of this plate with the other plate. So these many mountain ranges came up, and moving northwards we find other mountain ranges also. The Altai mountains we have, then we have the Sian mountains, the Yablonovi range, then we have the Great Kingan mountains. There are many such mountain ranges. We have the Varkoyangs range over here. You may remember Varkoyangs from the previous chapter, the coldest inhabited place in the world. So we have so many different ranges. Now after the ranges, mountain ranges is done, if we look at the plateaus, you find over here the plateau of Tibet. We were talking about the roof of the world. You can see so much of an area it is covering. The plateau of Tibet. We have other plateaus also. We have over here, it is written Deccan. They have missed the color over here. We have the Deccan plateau over here. Then we have different other plateaus. As you can see over here, we have the plateau of Iran. So there are so many different plateaus which we find in this. Now there are a few other important things. Let us look. We find so many different seas. Here we have the Caspian Sea. As you can see, Caspian Sea is landlocked. It means that it is surrounded by land on all sides and it does not have any outlet. It does have many rivers draining into the Caspian Sea. Many rivers drain in their waters into the Caspian Sea, but the Caspian Sea does not have any outlet. Water does not come out of the Caspian Sea. We have the Black Sea over here. Then we have after the Caspian Sea, we have so many other. We have the Red Sea, which divides Asia with Asia, or which separates Asia from Africa. We have the Arabian Sea. Then we have the South China Sea over here. There are so many seas which we find in the continent of Africa or Asia. Next, moving forward, if we look at, we also have many bays also. There is this bay. We have the Lakshadweep Sea over here. There are so many. If we look at the next most important color, we'll find that green, the plain lands. So over here you have the North European plain. So this part does not belong actually to this European plain does not belong to the map of Asia. It belongs to Europe. As I had told you all, that Ural Mountains, Ural Mountains, you'll find. Here you find the Ural Mountains, and these Ural Mountains separate the continent of Asia from Europe from Asia. And then we have plains over here. We have the West Siberian plains over here. Then the steppe lands. These steppe lands are also plain land. These are grasslands over here. We have the steppes over here. Then we have the most important plain we have which feeds India, the Indo-Gangetic plain over here. Then we have the other plain lands, the Eastern Ghats, the Western Ghats. Then we have plain lands, the Great Plain of China. So there are many plain land areas also. The green areas are making up the plain land areas of the Siberian plains which we have. Then we have over here the plateaus, the Great Central Siberian Plateau. These plateau areas, these plain areas, these are making up making up a lot of area, or taking up a lot of area of the continent of Asia. And then if we look, we'll find the desert areas. We'll find looking clearly, we have the Great Indian Desert over here. Then over here we have so many deserts in the Arabian Peninsula. We have the Nefud Desert. We have this is the Arabian Peninsula. We have the Nefud Desert. We have the Syrian Desert. So many deserts make up this area, this peninsular area of Arabia. We have the Gulfs over here also. Then looking, we have so many island groups. We have over here the Indonesian island groups. We have Singapore over here. We have Sri Lanka also an island over here. We have the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. We have the Lakshadweep Islands. We have the Maldives Islands. Then over here, if we look, we have the Philippines. You can see these are archipelagos. There are so many islands making up the country Philippines. Next we have over here the Taiwanese island. Next over here we have the islands of Japan. So Japan is also an island. So Asia is having so many island groups. Why did I do about, or why did I ask you all to look into the map, and why did I ask you all, or why am I urging you all to look into the maps, and uh, why am I asking you all to understand maps or to read maps? Understanding maps and map reading is particularly important so as to understand the physical features of any place. And map reading also gives has many advantages. We are able to locate areas, we are able to learn about newer areas, newer places of any continent, of any country. So understanding maps, I am urging you all, I am asking you all to first look at the map of Asia, try to locate a few islands, try to locate a few seas, bays, deserts, plain lands, mountain ranges, a few plateaus, so that you all understand, so that the understanding part of the different physical features of Asia becomes easy, so that when anyone tells you about suppose someone tells you about the Kunlun mountains or the Tian Shan mountains, you do not have to refer to the map every time or open a map every time. You have a mental picture of the map, you know exactly where you will be finding that map, or where you will be getting that map, or getting that place in the map. So that is why I am urging you all, asking you all, please give the map a good read. Look at the map, try to understand the map, try to locate different places, try to remember places, and do not just make it a one-off thing, or do not just look into the map just because I'm telling you this time. Look into maps, read maps anytime in your free time. Buy an atlas, anything like this will work. The school atlases, you have so many atlases. Buy any atlas, or you also have so many maps which you find in the, just Google it, you'll be finding maps of the world. There's a site and you'll be finding so many different maps over there, maps of different countries, places, maps telling us about climate, maps telling us about the vegetation, maps telling us about the physical features. So look at those maps, understand maps, so that understanding continents, understanding countries becomes much easier. So we'll be covering, or we'll be starting with the different physical features of Asia in the next lecture or in the next video. Till then, please be productive and do not let this lockdown become a regrettable thing. Do not just waste time. Be productive. Be happy. Keep everyone around you happy, and keep enjoying also. Thank you.